Our boy Bernard Sanders went on Bill Maher's show, Real Time, and they did an interview at the beginning because Bernie's selling a new book. And Maher's going to kind of try to debate Bernie here a little bit on student loan debt reduction, but it ends in a fascinating way. So let's watch.
I know you were advocating at the Supreme Court, I think it was last week, right? Because, or maybe it was this week, that the Supreme Court is looking at Biden's giveaway to people who own debt.
Giveaway is your term, not my term.
Well, they have college debt, okay, and we're going to give them money.
We're going to forgive debt.
Well, we're arguing about the same thing, but there's no argument. We're giving the money away. Okay.
I'd say Bill Maher is a little annoying. A little is an understatement, because he acts like he doesn't know what Bernie's objecting to there, but he knows what Bernie's objecting to. Bernie's objecting to the framing, like it's a giveaway. That's the framing of that is like it's sort of unearned. It's a gift. That's the framing of it. And Bernie's position, and my position as well, is like there never should have been student loan debt in the first place. So I wouldn't categorize it as a giveaway. I would say, like, this should have been part of the basic social contract, right? Like, when we have Medicare for all, when we have universal health care, is it going to be fair to call that a giveaway of health care to Americans? No, it's like, this is how it should have been all along. Now, Maher knows that, but he's playing dumb. Like, oh, we're saying the same thing. No, you're not, because the way you're framing it is loaded. It's a loaded way to frame it. And I would argue kind of a dishonest way to frame it.
Okay, so I just want to read you this. Again, this is against why people sometimes, I think, question some of what you're saying. This is a survey, student loan forgiveness recipients. 73% of applicants say they are likely to spend their extra money on non-essential, including vacations, smartphone, drugs, and alcohol. They
I love Bernie's face here.
Admitted that to the pollster.
Who is this pollster?
NBC News. 52% they are very likely to buy new clothing. 46% they would use the money for vacation and eat out at restaurants. This is why people have a thing about, I would never call it free money. Oh, I guess I just did. But
well, I mean, let me respond to that in two ways, Bill. You talk about giveaways. Under Trump, the Congress voted for $1 trillion in tax breaks for the richest people in this country and the largest corporations. That's a giveaway. We just increased military spending with very little discussion, I don't know if you know this, by $80 billion. Military-industrial complex.
Including the Democrats.
Pardon me?
The Democrats vote for it, too.
Yes, absolutely correct. Absolutely right. All right.
But that's socialism, the military. That's crony socialism.
Well, that's
right?
Crony capitalism.
But the military isn't capitalism. That's the government.
No, but it's who owns the military-industrial complexes. All right, but anyhow.
Right.
All right. So when you talk about giveaways, you have major corporations in this country that make billions in profit, don't pay a nickel in taxes. Billionaires have an effective tax rate lower than that of a truck driver or a nurse. You have a generation. You talk about this younger generation right now. I get around the country and I talk to a lot of people. You know, I don't know anything about that poll, but I can tell you, I've talked to nurses who are working their asses off, doing the right thing. They leave school $70,000 in that. They can't afford now to get married and have children. They can't afford the housing that they desperately need. So the truth is, you got a generation that, everything being equal, the younger generation will have a lower standard of living than their parents. You and I, and I'm a little older than you, can remember 50 years ago, what did it cost to go to the University of California? Remember?
$50.
Yeah.
500.
Virtually free. City University of New York.
Right.
Virtually free. And right now, these young people are leaving school deeply in debt. They're struggling economically. They deserve a break.
So to sum that up, he's saying, first of all, I wouldn't call it a giveaway to these students. But second of all, even if it was a giveaway, it's still based. That's his argument. And look, I totally agree. I agree with that. And he listed off some of the stuff there, but we spent $7 trillion in Iraq when all is said and done. $2 trillion in Afghanistan. Trillions of dollars on a Wall Street bailout. Billions of dollars every year in subsidies for oil companies like ExxonMobil when they're already phenomenally profitable. The list goes on and on of the stuff that we give away to the wealthy and powerful. And that's just business as usual. That's just standard operating procedure. That's just the status quo. And, you know, nobody blinks on that front. And here we have a rare situation where it's like, hey, maybe we should help out, like, students who are, who are struggling right now. And all of a sudden, all the rhetoric about, they're parasites, they're moochers, they're leeching, this is a giveaway, all that comes roaring back. And it's just fundamentally dishonest. The whole conversation is fundamentally dishonest. It's not a giveaway because there never should have been student loans in the first place. But even if it was a giveaway, I don't care. It's based. These are people who deserve a break. 90% of the people being helped by the student loan debt reduction make $75,000 a year or less. So also this notion that, oh, it's helping elites, it's helping the rich, it's just totally bogus. It's total nonsense. You shouldn't have to go into massive amounts of debt to try to improve your life, to give you a shot at reasonable success. And that's Bernie's point. So Maher, look, I don't know what happened to Bill Maher. I guess he's never been wonderful if you really take all of his policy ideas and put them on paper. But there was a time when he sounded more left. You know, in the Bush era, he would just bash them over the Iraq War relentlessly, and I was there for that. It was good. I enjoyed that. And he supported Bernie in 2015 and 2016 and made a lot of the same arguments Bernie makes. And then at some point along the line, I mean, he went from supporting Bernie in 2016 to supporting Amy Klobuchar in 2020. Something about the Trump era broke his brain. It happened to a lot of people. And so now, I mean, to even bring up that garbage poll is just astonishing, man. It really is. Because when you look at, generational wealth, millennials, for example, are just getting destroyed. Gen X had so much more money at this age. The baby boomers had so much more money. And right now they have like almost all of the national wealth. And so, yeah, to try to relieve some of the burden on these students is absolutely vital. It's crucial. It's necessary. And by the way, it'll have reverberating effects that help the economy. So anyway, let's see what Maher's reaction is.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. But in the book, you say you feel like the Democratic Party.
So he said, yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think Bernie just changed his mind in real time. No pun intended using the phrase real time. But obviously he loaded the question with all these terms and framing that suggested he's not in favor of student loan debt reduction. And in fact, we covered in the past, he was against student loan debt reduction. And then here he said, I couldn't agree more. Bernie Sanders just changed Bill Maher's mind in real time. That's awesome. That is awesome. And it shows you somewhere down in there for Maher, somewhere down in there, there's still shreds of some basic lefty ideas.
You take your shots at them, and you caucus with them and you run as one, but you're not completely part of them. Right. You say they feel like they're abandoned their cause to the beautiful people. Who are the beautiful people? I'm guessing it's not
Bill. You're looking really beautiful tonight here in L.A.
Me? Thank you, Bernie.
Here's the point. The point that I was making is when FDR was president, when Truman was president, even when JFK was president, you go out on the street and you say to people, which party represents the working class of America? Most people, I think, would have said the Democratic Party.
Correct.
All right. Today you go out on the street and that is not the sentiment. In fact, the Republican Party probably has more adherents than the Democrats.
How did that happen?
I'll tell you how it happened. It happened because 30 years ago, the Democrats said, hey, Republicans are getting all this corporate money. We want it too. Let's go out and get it. And let's forget about the people who are working 50 or 60 hours a week. So you're sitting out there somewhere in the Midwest. You can't afford health care. Maybe your job went to China and you're earning half of what you used to make. Your kid can't afford to go to college. And you're looking at people on television doing all of their stuff, and you are saying, who the hell gives a damn about me? All right? Who cares what my life is about? Who's addressing the crises facing my life, the pain that I'm experiencing? We have something, I don't know if you're familiar with the expression, it's called diseases of despair.
Of course.
All right. And what the doctors tell us, we have a life expectancy above and beyond COVID, which is in decline. It's in decline because people feel hopeless. Their jobs are taking them nowhere, worried about their kids, and they're turning to alcohol, drugs, and even suicide. All right? We've got to restore hope to the American people. Working class are the majority of people in this country. They are hurting. After 50 years of exploding technology, they're earning less than they did before. All right?
You sound like you're running again. No? Third time?
I'm just talking about the book here.
Third time the charm? People usually write a book when they're about to run.
No.
And he's not running. He said he's not going to challenge Biden if Biden runs. Biden said 1,000 times that he is running, so he's not running. But, yeah, I mean, that's obviously all that is true. The DLC, Bill Clinton ushering in this era of like, hey man, the era of big government is over, and then the Democrats started taking the same corporate money that the Republicans took. They weren't as reliant on like union money and lawyer money anymore, and so the priorities just shifted. And you have two right-wing parties. You have the Republicans who are pretty far right, and you have the Democrats who are center right, where on social issues they will be more open than the Republicans, more liberal than the Republicans. And even on economic issues, in some ways, they're a little more to the left of the Republicans. Like, they're always in favor of a higher marginal tax rate for the top bracket, for example. But they also support deregulation. They also buy into this neoliberal framework. And Bernie's pointing out that with that shift came this idea that, Democrats don't care about working people anymore. And so the Republicans have been working hard optically and with their PR to appeal to like disaffected white working class voters. And they're trying to virtue signal like Josh Hawley, people like that. Oh, no, we're the populists. We're in favor of you guys. Now, all of their policies are not. They're also deregulators. They love lower taxes on the wealthy. So they're not in terms of how they vote, but in terms of how they're trying to posture, like leaning into culture war issues, stuff like that. They're trying to pick away at the Democrats being viewed as the party of the working class, and it's been somewhat successful. And so Bernie's trying to reverse that. Bernie's trying to get the Democratic Party back to being more like the FDR party, as is Marianne Williamson, by the way. Like, this is their goal, and I think that's correct. I think you can hold the Democratic base and chip away at the independents and the moderates, and even get some right-leaning voters if you do class politics and you appeal to working class people, because, 80 to 90% of this country is struggling financially. And you got to fight back against it. So anyway, really, really good back and forth here. And I think the main takeaway is Bernie changed Bill Maher's mind on student loan debt reduction. He said, I agree, after Bernie did his little spiel, which is awesome. And it shows that Bernie is still a very persuasive and convincing guy when he wants to be. If you want to see me and Crystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West, and more, subscribe to Crystal, Kyle, and Friends on Substack. $5 a month gets you the video version a day early. Remember, we take 0 ad dollars for this podcast. Or you can sign up on Substack for free and get the audio version a day later. Link in the video description box below.